Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Hi everyone, welcome back to this channel. Today we are going to be dealing on how to generate contour map using Golden Software Software. Golden Software Software is a powerful mapping and data visualization software that is widely used in surveying, geosciences, and engineering. It's not only surveyors or people in geosciences that use software. It can also be used for modeling and creation of 3D visualization. It allows users to create professional contour maps, surface maps, 3D visualizations, and more using a wide variety of inputs. Now, in this video, I will guide you through the process of generating a contour map and other type of maps, that is, contour map, 3D visualization map, 3D wireframe, and so others. Using data imports, the visualization techniques, and how to customize your data. By the end of this tutorial, I believe you have a solid foundation for using software in your project. So without further ado, let's dive into software. So I'm going to be launching my software. Clicking on Windows, I'm going to search for software here. And this is it. I'm going to launch it. Now I've launched my server, and what I'm going to click on is selecting new plot. Now before we go further, we have selected new plot. Before we go further, what I want us to know is to go and look at our data, how our data look like. Now we have our data here, and this is data with height. You can see the preview here. I'm still going to open it so that we can all see it and look at how this data is formatted. Yes, this is the data we want to use. We have the point name, we have the easting, we have the height, and we have the code. Now, the important things in this data are northing's coordinates, the easting's coordinates, and the height. The point ID is not a must. Whereas this code was generated using the GNSS software that was used to capture this data. So this is not actually needed also. But what must be included in your data when you are preparing your data for software is your data can be in either CSV format or Excel format or text format, but must be separated and must have your northings, eastings, and height. Once you can identify the three, then we are good to go. So I'm going to close this again, and I'm going to go back to my software. So I'm not going to save it. I know where it is saved already. It's in desktop and inside a folder called contour. So I'm going to minimize this also. Now this is software environment, and I'm in my home session. So the first thing I want to do to import my data to this software environment is come to grid data. You can see the grid data here. Grid data, I'm going to click on it, and you can see the gridding method here. So none is selected here in this dataset 1. So I'm going to browse it and go to the folder where I've saved my work. So I saved it in desktop inside a folder called contour, and this is the data. So I'm going to open it. Now you can see it has brought in some columns in my data, but these columns are not tallying with what the description here. You can preview to see how your data looks like so that you'll be able to identify it. So I'm going to view data. You can see how my data looks like here. So in my column A here, I can see that it is point name, and in my column B, I have my nothings. And in our normal coordinates, Y represent nothings. That is, this Y is correct, and our X is supposed to be our eastings. So that is column C. I'm going to come here and select column C. It is column C is for eastings, column Y is for nothings, and column Z, column C rather, the column D rather, which is our height here. I'm going to change it, that is Z, our Z value. So I'm going to change it to column D here and say it's CBD. It can be any other way around for you, You can have your nothings first. You can have your height first. Anyhow it is, just make sure that you're able to recognize that this is this and this is that. So after I've done this, go to close this. Now you can see this left side. There is grid. These are grading methods. That is method of interpolation and how your data is going to be interpolated. There are so many methods here, but for the sake of this work we are doing, we are going to be using grading. Grading is not the most accurate. Actually, none is the most accurate, but some are better for some type of data. But for the type of data I'm using, surveying data, and because of the clusteredness of the data, so grading is the best one I should use. And if you want to know more about other ones, once you click on them, you see a short description here that tell you about the one you have selected. See co-region, you can see some things about co-region, inverse distance to a power, nearest neighbor, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to be using region. So the next I'm going to click on next. Now these are the statistical data that is giving us. You can see the lag size, you can see the number of lags and other ones. These are not really very much important right now. You can see show count and all that. But let's continue to the next page. Now this is how our points looks like. These are the points it has plotted it in X and Y, and now the Z value is not here yet, but it's going to show us from here you can see other information about the data. So I'm going to next again, and here you can see the residual plot and how the interpolation was done, and you can complete the mathematical computation for it. You can see the mean, the root mean square, error, and all that. So I'm going to click on next again, and this is the final page before we produce our thing. So copy geometry from what? We are not copying geometry from anything. We are leaving it like that because we have actually imported our data output geometry. So our grid Z limits, we are going to leave all this as default as it is, and the Z transform is going to be linear, not logarithmic or any other thing. Linear is what we are using. So the next thing we want to talk about is the layer here that we are selecting. So I'm going to select contour. If your own is not in contour, if it's in anything, you can change it to contour because that's the first thing that's the first map we are producing. So, and it's in new map here. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on finish. But before I click finish, you can see the output grid. The output grid is actually in the same data, in the same folder where my data is, and the difference is just that it will be the same name, just like this one will be .grd. And I'm going to click finish, and immediately it's going to generate the report. And inside this report, you can see our calculation formula there and other important stuff like the mean, median, mode, the descriptive statistics, and all other informations that are useful. So I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to minimize it for now. So this is our contour. Our contour has been generated. To customize it, come to the left side of your page, you will see content here. To format the contour map to make it more better or look better, we're going to come to this content page here on this side. And you cannot see your own content page, just come to view, and you're going to see content here. I can off it and I can on it back. So this is my content page. So right now I'm going back to home. So I'm going to click on map. You can see this is the map here. These are the properties here. And I'm going to click on this contour and the name of my data. So I'm going to click on the contour. Then I'm going to be doing some formatting there. So the first thing I will be doing is I'm going to be checking the levels. That is, I want to change the contour interval. You can see that the contour interval here is 2. That is, this is 140, this is 142, 144, 146, 148, and 150. So I can increase and I can reduce the contour interval. If I change it to 1, press enter. You can see it has increased again. Then I have major contour every 5 lines. So that's why we have 140 and 145. So I can reset it to, you can see how it looks like. Depend on the use of your contour map. That's what will determine how you want your contour to look like. And you can have color scale. But when you have color scale, you have to actually fill your contour to have color scale. So we are still going to get to that. So next thing we want to do is we want to fill contour here. So once I click on fill contour, you can see how my contour looks like. but this does not really present the contour map well. So I'm going to change the fill color from grayscale. I'm going to change it to something like terrain here. Now, this is a better representation. And if I click on color scale now, I think you understand my color scale perfectly here, that blue is the highest and this color is actually the lowest. And this is how this place look like. And from here, we can see that this is the lowest part of the map and this is the highest part of the contour map. And this is our contour map. You can actually edit it by adding some features to it. And what are the features you can add to it? These are, you can come to map tools, you can add your scale to it. The scale is automatic. Then you can also come to, features. If you come to features, then you can add text. Text, like click on the text and come and click it here. Then you're able to type maybe contour map of part of Nigeria. I'm just using this as an example, so that does not really represent it well. I'm going to click OK. Then you can see that this is not the size I want. Then you can come to content again, click on it. Then you can actually change the size points here and increase it till I get what I want, or can still right click and edit it. So this is our contour map. Then I'm going to create another map, that is the surface map. So I'm going to click on the map here. Then I can actually off it here so that I will not see it on the screen again. So everything we have added to the screen, we can actually off it from this left thing here. So I'm going to off everything here so that we will not see those things. Then I'm going to come to my home again. I'm going to come to this 3D surface. I'm going to click on 3D surface here. Now it's going to take me back to where my grid file is saved. Then I'm going to click on the grid file again and open it. And it's going to bring me my 3D surface map. And this is 3D surface map. And there are some edits we can add to it too by coming to this 3D surface map, click on the map and click on the 3D surface, this one. The first thing we can also show is we can also show our color scale here, like the one we show in our map, in our contour map also. Then we can come to our show base here in this base, so that this white part will show as base, and then we have a color. So we can see this base now. We can change the color to any color that we like. So I can change it to something very black. Something this is not represented well, so I'm going to leave it at somewhere around here. I think this is pretty nice. Another thing we can do is that we can view this 3D surface map using different angle. And how we're going to do that? By coming to map tool here, I'm going to click on trackball. Once I click on trackball, you see this icon showing here. Then I'm going to be dragging it here. Then as I'm dragging it, you can see two things showing. Once I click on drag, you can see on the bottom right corner of the screen, you can see the rot and the teeth. That is the rotation angle and the teeth angle. So mostly I like using a rotation angle around 45 degrees. I'm going to leave it at 45 degrees here. For the sake of this work, it's 42. I'm going to leave it at 45. Then my teeth is okay. My teeth is also okay around 37. Okay. Or let me leave it at 30. I can leave it at anyone. Depending on how you want your work to show. I can actually change it. I want to see it from here to for better view. I think this one shows it better now. You can see how it looks like. So this is actually how to show your contour map, 3D surface map. I'm going to off this on this left side of the page also, this content, and I'm going to come to home again. I'm going to show my 3D wireframe that looks exactly like 3D surface map, just like this one is wireframe. Clicking it, you can see how it looks like also. I'm going to come to my map tool and uncheck trackball. So you can see the 3D wireframe, almost like 3D surface map, but this one is just wireframe. We can also do our editing and play around with our wireframe also, the way we have been working with our 3D surface map. And this is how to use software to generate our contour map and other type of maps. And now there are other maps that we can be generated. So we can generate our post map, that is our class post and our normal post map. We can generate our color relief. We can generate our grid values, our watershed, our first grid vector, second grid point cloud, peak and depressions, and all that using our geospatial, using our software software. And this is actually how to use software to generate our contour map and our 3D surface map, also 3D wireframe. Thank you. God bless you.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.